We're in hiding now.
We are at least identifying with it.
Yeah.
We're not it ourselves.
Okay, talk. What do I want?
Well, I don't know
already
whether he's just working on the line. Well, I don't know yet.
Oh, it's going to be like inspiration at the moment.
No, I just don't worry about it. I mean, I just asked what I think I can. So. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
what does it mean to you to be featured craftsman?
Well, that's kind of the wrong. I really don't know. You know, we erase that part of the tape. Well, I think that in terms of my work with the organization, it's a great honor because it's sort of a thing that they do for most people who have tried to become active in New York State craft world. As far as my own personal involvement in weaving goes, it's a little small these days because I'm so involved with designing for industry. So one thing I'm very happy that the show came up is that it pushed me into doing more things in...
Of your own?
Yeah, yeah.
Which are just for you.
For me, exactly, for the good old soul.
What about, why don't we talk about some of the things here? This piece, is that one that you did for this event?
Yes, that one and the one with the purple tassels in the background there.
And why does it differ from what you designed for industry?
Oh, well, it doesn't in many ways, because the firms I'm involved with in industry are rather, I would say, avant-garde in a sense, or at least they're very design conscious. I'm very lucky to be involved with firms that don't push me into a low price category, so that the only basic difference is that there are things here that could never be done by a machine.
You mean like the braiding, for example?
Yeah.
But in terms of your feeling
as far as
about
design goes,
design,
yeah.
Just
this wasn't woven, by the way.
It's tufted or?
No, it's done with a latch hook, because this is a little instrument that I discovered in writing my second book. I didn't discover it, but it was there, but I was sort of always negating it. And then I found out that it's like, it sort of has a bad name. People associate it with kits and things like that. And actually it has a lot of possibilities. You can do things like this that don't look standardized, made out of a little kit mold.
When you say latch hook, you latch onto a backing?
Yeah,
with
that's exactly it. Yeah, with the yarn. Yeah, you just push it through.
Can we see the back of that? I mean, does it have?
It's stapled on because
I see.
otherwise people get a tendency to keep pulling out.
Are any of these done in that manner?
Yes, those that aren't embroidered are done with latch hook. One reason they're done this way instead of woven is because I'm on the road quite a bit, so I can do them as I'm on the road, where I can't always take a little loom with me.
What is your second book's title?
Step-by-step rug making.
Oh, I see.
But it's not weaving, it's rug making in all of its different forms, from hooking to embroidery to latch hook to weaving to braiding. And
when you design for industry and you're designing a rug, must you bear in mind the industrial limitations all the time, or do you confront them later on in the design process?
Well, I don't consider them limitations, because actually it sometimes isn't too good to be too free. You know, if you have somebody gives you a problem, this, that, or whatnot, and you have this problem that X and Z must equal Y or something, this is like doing the same thing with a machine. So instead of saying, oh God, you know, there's so many limitations, what I think of as, well, these limitations are actually giving me a challenge, and I work with them, not against them. And I've never really felt stymied by limitation. I think a mechanical limitation, far from it.
You've been working with Regal rugs, and they're really kind of special in the industry.
So this is true with other ones too. I worked with other firms before I worked with Regal.
I see.
And as long as a firm, let's say, is in a certain price category, then you know you can have this flexibility.
I see.
I would say that when it comes down to something cheaper priced, lower priced, then you can't, because first of all, their thinking isn't geared to making new things. Their thinking is to, let's copy the old stuff, mainly for selling purposes.
Are you still a teacher?
Yeah, more so than ever, I'm afraid.
Now?
At FIT, the Fashion Institute in New York, only one night a week. And then I've set up a new department at the Brooklyn Museum. And it's in operation already, but I hired somebody to take my place this summer, and I'll go back there in the fall. Francois Grossom,
Yes. Why don't you talk a little bit, too, about some of the other work that's in here. I noticed you have something from Lee Nordness's gallery there.
Well, I'm connected with Lee Nordness, so he actually, in a sense, owns most of my work, except things like the pillows and whatnot. I think that if I have to talk about what I'm trying to do as a weaver on my own, which is really strictly for me and not, well, you show it to people because you just do, but it's my own personal involvement with two things, the surface of textiles. I couldn't care less about constructed structural,
Shape.
free-form, three-dimensional things, but as far as surface feeling goes, this is what particularly interests me. And in terms of raising the surface via the knot, and this I got from being in the Ruya rugs, and sort of from Ruya you sort of begin wondering what are other possibilities of doing things with the knot. The knot, and then in these braided fascinations, and also wrapping. And I mean, that sounds maybe a little limiting, but within the scope of these three things, I could go on working for my own self for the next 15, 20 years.
Well, actually, you get a lot of dimension even from this basic approach.
Yeah.
I was the piece that's inside there. I remember when the center.
Oh
one,
yeah.
I remember in Made with Paper. You
Yeah.
did a piece along those lines of paper yarn.
Two other ones. Yeah.
This is not of paper though.
Yeah,
Is it?
paper
You're
and
still
cellophane.
Using that yarn,
Yeah.
Are you?
I have tons of it. God, I'll never use it up, and nobody else wants it.
Well, it makes quite a different.
I tell you, it
piece.
has a wonderful life to its own, but the only drawback with it is that when these things go out on tour, people don't know how to handle them, and as a result, after a year or so, they get absolutely mangled. That's the only drawback, because they don't have the kind of springiness that a yarn does, a wool, or even a synthetic. But as far as working with it as a texture in itself, that is fantastic, because it does have a life of its own. And that's lovely.
Well, you're one of the most traveling craftsmen. Where are you traveling next?
Oh, so fair. Well, let's see. Where am I at? Nowhere really, as far as exotic places.
That's what you always say.
No, but nowhere. I'm going so much on my lecture gambits. I haven't had too much of a chance to go off on pleasure trips.
What are you lecturing on?
Color and design, in relationship to weaving and rug design. Well, they're a different structured lecture, but this is the sort of the basis of what I'm trying to push, because I feel that if these weavers groups or design groups that get a hold of me, they're hiring me because of my reputation as a weaver, but as far as technical knowledge, they don't need me. They can get it out of a book. But as far as what I can try and teach them about color and design and about just manipulating their techniques into giving them richer fabrics, this is my pitch and what I'm talking about.
Well, you draw a lot on your travels.
Yeah. Almost all of
Design.
these came from my travels.
Do you
All
have-
the ideas.
Do you have can you pinpoint one of those for us?
Yeah, that one right there. That purple one. You want to go over there? Yeah. I don't know if you can see it or not. But this purple one, do you remember a place called Chinchero up outside of Cusco? Or didn't you go
I
up
didn't
there?
go there. I know
Okay.
Cusco, yes.
Yeah. We went to a festival there, and I was trying to take pictures of the little Indian people there, and in front of me came this little Indian woman with millions of braids on her head of all shapes and sizes, and she had
Of
this
her own
silky,
hair?
yes, her own hair, and it was this silky, glossy black hair, and so I got by mistake a shot of her head, but like close up. It was right in front of the camera with all of these braids. And when I got back home, I was so fascinated by that slide that I thought I wanted to do something with silky, shiny braids, just again as a medium to add dimension to a flat surface. And so this is what this turned out to be. And the colors were my feeling of what the main colors of Peru's are, as far as their textiles go, not the landscape colors necessarily. So that's where this one evolved. So, most of these things here came from, this is from the cathedrals of Europe, the stained glass windows. And the other things here are just really, the whites or the naturals come from what I've tried to get as far as the feeling of Greece goes. The landscape there.
You have some plumbing washers on that one.
Yeah. Well, to me they're not plumbing washers, they're another textural surface. But I also work a lot with solder core too. I don't think there's anything here with them.
With solder?
Solder core, you twist that around. Instead of wrapping with the yarn, you wrap with the solder core. And this one here has it's very dark in there, but it has industrial washers. Those black blobs are industrial washers that my mother found in some field.
What is the material of that piece?
That's paper and natural
It is
yarn.
paper.
Yeah, paper and natural yarn.
And what is happening over here on
Well,
this?
I felt that in this show, even though it's a craft organization here and it's showing a craftsman, that so much of my life is devoted to industry that they should see something from industry. And I didn't want to just put up, well, I do wall hangings and rugs and also fabrics. I didn't want to put that up, or any of the kind of fiber work I do for Monsanto. I wanted to put up something a little different. So this is from a show I did for Monsanto, I think a year or two ago at one of the January home furnishings market. And what it is, it's part 3 of a 3-part show I did for them, trying to feature or promote their nylon, their new
this
nylon.
Is nylon.
That's nylon. It's a second-generation nylon called Kadon. Second generation being meaning that it has anti-static, soil-resistant properties.
It's treated
within the chemical,
Oh,
not treated afterwards. It's within the chemical that goes into it. Anyway, the first part of the show was showing new ideas using the yarn dye, which is an old way of doing things in carpeting. The second one was using the printing techniques on already dyed carpeting. And then the third one, so you had, well, yarn dyes, designing with the color in the yarn, designing by printing over the yarn, and now designing by throwing light on the yarn, which might be a possibility for futuristic planning in design. At least if you had the kind of a home where you could put projectors on the ceiling and have your rug there, and then, you know, flash all sorts of things.
I think Jack Larson did that, one of his showings a couple of years ago, where it was just trying
he did,
to
I
alter
think,
the surface.
multimedia. He
Yes.
did the whole,
Yes.
yeah, he did the whole room involved.
This
You're right.
work, who made this rug?
My
You did
slaves
the-
at Monsanto. No, I designed it, and
What
they
is the
tufted
technique?
it for
It is
me.
tufted.
Yeah, well, I gave them an electric cooking gun, and so they used that. And then the parts that were too difficult for them to do, I did. Now, the only thing wrong with this is that we don't have the best dissolve unit here. So instead of having the smooth on and off thing, it all flashes
It's
on.
flashing,
Yeah,
yes.
but it should be a very smooth transitional thing, so that you're almost hypnotized by what you're looking at. It's
This,
meant to be very relaxing.
Tell me, that has a lot of highs and lows in
Yeah.
the pile. Do you get that by then shearing the surface afterward?
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
something you do as you go along. It's
You
a-
could,
Yes,
depending
but
on your
you-
machine.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
It has a feeling of looking down from a plane on the farmland, and so it has a lot of feeling of the outdoors.
This, though, actually, it's a good observation, but it was designed a little different way because I got certain slides from the microscopy people I was working with. And when I saw the slides, I designed the rug so that some of the slides would fit in shapes with the amorphous shapes I had there.
I see. Superimposing that one
Yeah,
on top
yeah,
of the other.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, it changes remarkably
Yeah.
under certain color.
Yes, well, color is one thing I absolutely love and adore. And even, I mean, to me, these things are colors too, but not as exotic as, you
Yes.
know, this seductive lushness of reds, purples, etc.
Well, we had an interesting conversation with Bill Stewart this morning. He had worked so much in color, and now he's doing mostly white with black decoration. And he said the color got in the way of the form for
Yeah.
him for a while, and then his
Well,
attraction
yes,
to the
I
white.
feel the same way that way because after a while you feel that everybody who looks at your work doesn't really see the work, they see the color.
Which I think is true
Yeah.
because each one has his own feelings about
Yeah.
color, and it's a very powerful design quality.
And it's also a great, color is a great seducer, you
Yes.
know. So that if you strip things bare of color, as bare as they can possibly be, and just give them something like this, they might look at the texture of the yarn, or they might look at the structure of the thing,
Get
the
more
flat
into
structure.
it, yes.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you one other thing. When did you first get involved with New York State Craftsmen?
Lord, let's see now. I think it's, let me just think, what year is it, 71? Oh, at least 6, 7, 8 years ago. I
So
think
it-
must say 7 to be safe, yeah.
So you've really been involved with them.
Yeah.
We were talking to Art Sennett, and he was telling me it all began in 1954, which
Yes,
is a very
yes.
long time ago.
Before my time.
Before mine, I'm glad to say.
Yeah.
Well,
But I started out doing workshops for them, weaving workshops, which at one time were part of the fair.
I remember seeing you a couple of years ago.
Yes, weaving with,
Yes.
with a little student. In fact, we used to be right down there. And then at the same time, roughly, I became part of the board. And
Are you still?
yeah.
What do you think of this year's fair as compared to others?
Well, I really haven't had too much of a chance to go around, but what I have looked at, of course, are the textiles and weaving, and I think that they're really, by and large, the most exciting that they've been in certainly the last 2-3 years. So I'm very happy to see that. because I think there are a lot of good things to look at just for ideas here, and there are a lot of good things to buy here.
I was impressed with it, and I think a lot of people are talking about fairs these days.
Yeah.
They're getting to be a lot more conscious
Yes,
of the
yeah,
quality of
yeah,
fairs that
yeah.
you find, not just the Craftsmen group, but even some of
The lay public,
Yes,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
they're,
yeah.
they're really getting very sophisticated now. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.